good, YouTube? It's your boy Jynesis back with another video on astrology. Before we get into the video, I just want to open up with some good energy by saying Grand Rising. Peace to the gods and goddesses of Planet Kai. Peace to Planet Kai. Peace to the plant life on Planet Kai. Peace to the ancestors. Peace to the elderly. Peace to the youth. Peace to my peers. Peace to all the high vibrational beings and the animals. So yesterday we talked about the sun. Today we finna talk about the moon. If you haven't checked out my zodiac sign videos, basically the series of the signs, or just information on the zodiac signs, I do have a playlist on my channel called Astrology 101 Zodiacs or Zodiac Signs. Just go ahead and just tap into with that, just so you can kind of get accustomed to the energies and whatnot and the shit that I'm about to talk about through this series of the planets. And yeah, let's get right into it. So yesterday we talked about the sun, the celestial body that everybody can see throughout the day and whatnot. And, it's hot as fuck. Today we're going to be talking about its opposer, its opposition. I wouldn't say it's its opposition, but I'll say it's its corresponding element or celestial being, which is the fucking moon. The moon, bro. The moon, in which goes through phases, just like how Cancer goes through phases and whatnot. Just like how we all go through our own phases. And this video shouldn't be too long like yesterday's video, so just jump right into it. So yeah, the moon. To start off, I just want to just note that when it comes to the moon, everyone has a lot of misconceptions. People say it's bad because the Draconians use it as a fucking space station to capture souls. Other people say it's good because you can use it for magic and all this other shit. It's in between because it's its own energy. It's its own energy. Just like how magic is its own energy or its own entity itself, magic. Anyone can get into it. Anyone can use the moon for their own personal use. It's just how you use it. Just like magic, it depends on what you're using it for. The reason why I mention magic is because people use moon magic to manifest things into reality. Just like how I say in the sun video, you can use the sun to manifest things into your reality. Same thing with the moon. The moon's a little bit more powerful because of the phases that it goes through and how fast it goes through the signs, versus the sun takes a little longer because it goes through the signs 1 degree per day, versus the sun goes through each sign like every 2 days it goes through another sign. So yeah, the sun and the moon both do the same thing as far as manifesting. As far as when it comes to this realm, it's just they do it differently. But yeah, so the moon dictates how we emotionally react to our environment when it comes to astrology. It influences our emotions. It influences how we react to situations and events, relationships, ourselves, how we feel about existence. Anything that drives you emotionally, that's what the moon does. Whatever sign the moon is placed in, is basically how the moon reacts emotionally, or that's how you react emotionally, because the moon controls, or it manipulates, or it influences. I can't find the right words right now, but it influences our emotions for the most part. And to go back on that moon magic, a lot of the elites or the 1%ers who control this matrix use Saturn and the moon to basically conduct this matrix. And the reason to get more insight on that, Saturn deals with the third dimensional realm. I didn't mention that in the Capricorn video, but I will mention that in the Saturn video. It dictates the third dimension, and it also kind of sets up the structure for society. So when it comes to the moon basically tethers to our emotional reaction to that system structure or setup that Saturn places. And when you use them together, you can basically create a matrix with them. So that's why it's called the Saturn moon matrix. There's other information that goes deeper about this, but for the most part, that's kind of how I perceive it to be when it comes to that Saturn moon matrix thing, that topic, because it's used basically against us for the most part. That's why we have jobs that exist. That's why we have certain rituals that are done in front of us, because they're done with the Saturn moon matrix system. Do a lot of research on that if you really want to know. I'm not going to go too in depth with that because that's kind of outside of astrology in the sense of what I'm talking about. But maybe eventually I'll get around to those type of topics. But yeah, so the moon, it basically influences how we react to the system that is set up in front of us, and how you navigate in this realm. So for an example, I'm gonna use myself as an example. Being the moon in Capricorn, the way I react to situations and scenarios and just life period is I have to basically have a structure within myself and around me so that I can feel emotionally fulfilled. For Leo, an example, they basically require some form of attention emotionally in a relationship for them to feel fulfilled. Or in general, they have to be able to give that love and receive that love, similar to a Libra, but more so on that how can I explain that, a luminescence aspect of when you give someone love. So giving attention, catering to someone, that's how they get fulfilled emotionally, whether it's them doing it to others or others doing it to them. And when you once you learn your moon placement, that's kind of basically the core version of yourself that no one else really meets. When they first meet you, they don't really meet that side of you. They meet the sun and the rising, like I said. So they're not going to know too much about how you emotionally react to a situation. So if you piss them off, this is how they react. You feel me? That's basically not like Mars, what you do when you're mad, but it's more so before you get to that anger is what partakes. That's the moon energy. So if you basically piss off a moon in Aries, they're going to react emotionally, impulsively with aggression, versus a moon in Cancer is going to react emotionally, less aggressive, but more emotionally tethered to what the fuck is going on, and they're not going to let it go because that's his home placement and it goes through its phases. But for the most part, the moon does, just like I said, the sun represents the focus. The moon focuses on the emotional aspect or the unseen aspect of our lives. And just pay attention to the moon. I mean, when it's a full moon, all of our senses are heightened. When it's a new moon, all of our senses are basically in a shadow, but they're not gone. They're just in the shadow. And during a new moon, it's a time to plant seeds. It's a time to start new ideas, start a business, start a project. And then throughout the phases, that manifests in its reality through full moon as it's at its peak. And then you will see your manifestations play out. And it all goes down just the same way I broke down the moon, the sun with the 3D cosmic 3D printer. The moon's not, I don't break it down the same. I just say it's more so like a straightforward way of manifesting with your emotions. Because like I said, to make money itself, you have to really be well disciplined in your emotions to make the right financial decisions to save this or to spend that or invest that. Because if you're stuck on trauma, if you're stuck on anything emotionally distraught, you're going to spend money just to fulfill that place. And that's what a lot of earth signs, for the most part. Water signs can kind of do that, but they mostly just know how to deal with their emotions, versus earth signs, they don't like dealing with emotions. They rather spend money to fill that hole in, but then once that hole gets empty again, they have to spend the money again. It just becomes a fucking void. So earth signs, watch out for that. If you have an earth placement, if a moon placed in the earth sign, watch out for that, because that could be a bad trait if you're not doing the shadow work, tapping in with that inner self, because that's also the moon. It's that inner self, that inner version. It's kind of similar to the 8th house of that shadow side of yourself. It's the part that no one sees too much. I mean, you'll know it or notice it once you get close to someone, but that deeper part of who they are when they're by themselves, that's the true moon. You only see a phase or a side of the moon sign when you're around someone, like a family member or something. But when they're by themselves and how they react to certain situations by themselves, it's 12th house / moon energy. So kind of get an understanding of that. But with the moon, you know, it influences our emotions. So, you know, like I said, when the moon's going through its phases, you'll also go through your own personal phases, depending on the aspects to other planets, where the fucking moon is placed in, what sign the moon is placed in, and just overall how you're living your life. If you have the same moon sign as of another person, you're not going to have the same exact experience. You'll have a similar experience that you can probably communicate to help the other moon placement that has the same moon sign as you. But for the most part, it's not going to be the same because of aspects, because of how you live your life paths and all that shit. So well, all this is personal. It's a personal thing. You know, these are personal planets. The moon and the sun, they're a personal thing. They're not really generational like Uranus on back to Pluto and Chiron. But yeah, the importance of the moon is basically to understand your emotions. It helps you understand who you truly are to the core, the shadow side of you. It helps you understand how you react to situations and once you get a grasp of that energy, you can use it to your advantage through magic. That's where the importance of moon magic comes in, because if you have a certain sign and this sign does these certain things, do the magic around those traits and attributes. Don't fucking be a moon in Aries doing moon in Gemini shit. It doesn't make sense. You have cardinal energy doing mutable shit. For the most part, you're able to, do shit, but you're too busy focused on leading it instead of just, being everywhere. Like a Gemini, they're very scattered, but they're able to obtain information at the same time. They just don't know how to basically ground themselves, you know what I'm saying? They don't know how to ground themselves. And moon and Geminis, they have a hard time grounding their emotions, especially when they're pissed off. They'll talk about their feelings until that shit goes away. But if they're feeling it, they have to communicate that shit. Otherwise, it's going to eat them up. It's going to eat their brain alive. It's like, I'm thinking about this shit too much and I'm feeling it too much. Similar to a moon in Aquarius. Only difference is that moon in Aquarius can hold it in because of that detachment. But when they get to talking about how they feel, they're not going to stop because it's fixated on that communication aspect of how they feel. So now, do signs. Like I said yesterday, I'll do the planets and signs, planets placed in signs, and as a whole different series. Right now we're just going over the actual energies of these bodies, so that once again I won't be saying too much on the actual planets. I can just send you to this video or to the other planet, like the singular videos versus the the collaborations of the signs and the planets, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, the moon is ruled by Cancer, like I said earlier. Is debilitated in Capricorn, is exalted in Taurus, and it's at its detriment in Scorpio. So Scorpio, moon and Scorpios and moon and Capricorns both go through a lot of shit when it comes to that moon placement. For the most part, the moon does well in the other signs. It's basically neutral. Has its ups and downs with a few other signs, but for the most part, it does best in Taurus and Cancer. I think there's a third placement that it does great in, but I can't remember, so I'm gonna just focus on those. But yeah, and when it comes to like the placements and what's good or bad, don't think of it as bad thing as in this person, like, okay, for example, me having moon in Capricorn versus moon in Taurus. That don't mean that they can do shit with their emotions better. That just means they can tap into that energy more fluidly than I can. I'm more likely to restrict my emotions and not want to deal with them, versus Taurus is going to sit in the sensation of their emotions, but that don't mean they can deal with their emotions better than me. They probably don't like dealing with their fucking emotions, but they know they can deal with them. Versus me, I can probably know how to control my emotions and deal with them, and I probably have a very well understanding of how I feel. I just don't express them the same as the other signs, you know what I'm saying? So this detriment, this exaltation, this home, and this, this fall language of these placements does not mean good or bad. That just means that's like being a football player on a basketball court. Still an athlete. At the end of the day, you're still a fucking athlete. You just got to learn the fucking rules of this damn game. You feel me? Just think about it like that. But yeah, the moon is very important as far as understanding who you are emotionally, because our emotions are what the matrix use to basically stay alive. You know what I'm saying? The system's only up because we emotionally attract ourselves to the materialistic items or the materialism within this reality, and that's what they kind of have us gravitate towards. Just like how I said with the sun sign, how they tell you your horoscope publicly, and how they taught us the zodiac signs and shit. They only told you and taught you your fucking sun sign. They never taught you your moon sign, so you wouldn't even fucking know about this information until someone who knows astrology comes across you and tell you, or that you just get into this shit and you just figure out, oh shit, there's more. First of all, once you learn your birth chart, then you be like, oh shit, what the fuck does all these planets mean? Then you're gonna go into a rabbit hole of your own self. So right there in itself, once you learn your birth chart, which I'll do a video on as well, you'll basically know everything you need to know about yourself. At that point, that's when you take that information, you learn, you dive deep, because even myself, I still research the same placements that I have. I research my placement, my natal placements that I was born with. I still do research on them because the perspective that I have of them changes damn near every month. So it's always good to refresh yourself with this information, especially the personal planets, because that's how you interact with people, that's how you get money, that's how you basically act on your purpose, versus the generational planets. They're more so predicated on what's going on around you collectively. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say on the moon. The moon's pretty simple, straightforward. Most of the information I have to give is how it's placed in each sign, so you'll get that from me next week whenever I do the planets and the signs video, which those are going to be broken up differently. So that's going to stretch far more than the last week and this week's videos. So just be on the lookout for that. But for as far as the moon, you know, everything you need to know is it's basically the shadow side of ourselves, and the sun is basically the light side, or what you can see of ourselves, you know. And if you have any moon sun aspects, you just have an opposing situation. For the most part, you'll have an opposing situation. Not really, but the aspects of the moon, I mean, I'll have to get into that when I do the aspects, so I'm not even going to tap on that. But yeah, what's up, boy? Just chilling. My dog, you know, y'all like seeing him. He like getting dirty. He dirty right now. I gotta get more shampoo from him, cause his ass got hella fur, and he be needing damn near 2 bottles a fucking week for this shit. But yeah, watch out. But yeah, moon on. Hey, bro, you getting me dirty. The moon. I'm trying to catch more downloads while I'm sitting here, because I do have a tendency to kind of brush over things. But, you know, I'm just now coming back to YouTube, and this shit's, you know, it's not new to me, but it's like riding a bike, bro. Gotta kind of get used to certain shit. But, yeah, man, if I missed anything that anybody that's watching this video knows on the moon that I probably haven't touched on astrology-wise, I'm not going to get into the metaphysics on the moon today, because the moon is very complex because of the phases, versus the sun is pretty simple. To me, the moon is a little bit more in depth because of the different characteristics and different meanings and different representations of it. So I'll have to probably do another moon video and break it down like that in that video versus this video. I just, like I said in the other videos, I just want to keep it simple so people can just watch these videos, get a clear understanding, and then go on to the next. And I have to be lost at the first fucking video, like, damn, what the fuck is this nigga talking about? I don't like when motherfuckers be looking at me like I'm crazy, like I don't know what the fuck I be talking about. No, it's the fact that you're overcomplicating the information that's given. So I have to learn how to communicate it simply. And if you overcomplicate some simple information given to you, that's your fault. I ain't even gonna lie. You need to get that mind right, meditate or some shit. But yeah, if you want to tap into your moon energy, the best way is to meditate too. Since I said that, the best way to tap into that moon energy is to meditate. The best way to tap into the sun energy is to meditate in the sun or sun gaze. Those some little gems for y'all, some little tips for y'all how to tap in. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Feel me? Hope I helped you guys out with the moon energy, help you understand the moon and astrology. You know, I'll get into the placements in other videos, like I said, so don't worry. That video is coming. Those videos are coming. Taking it slow, okay? I told you I'm a Taurus rising. I'm not finna just jump into this shit. Nah. But yeah, I'm gonna leave as I came by saying Grand Rising, peace to Grand Rising, peace to Planet Kai, peace to the gods and goddesses of Planet Kai, peace to the plant life on Planet Kai, peace to the animals, peace to the ancestors, peace to the elders, peace to the youth, peace to my peers, peace to the crystal baby star season, the gifted ones and the chosen ones. And I send you all high vibrations. Keep working hard and keep raising your frequency and vibration. It's been your boy Jynesis. Love.